What's going on, guys? Welcome to Own the Chaos, where we talk about everything related to the OTC market. My name is Brad, and I'm here to talk to you guys tonight about how I made 2,600 big ones in the last 2 days. I'm super excited about the tickers that I have in here to show you. Before I get to that, though, if you're just joining me for the first time, I just want to go over real quick the apparel that we just started. I actually just got this shirt from one of our members, actually created this logo, which I thought was pretty awesome. There's a huge logo on the back as well. If you haven't checked it out, here, I'll just swipe around real quick. It's got a caveat emptor symbol on there. If you're not familiar with what that is, you'll find out soon enough if you keep trading OTCs with us. So the link to buy that shirt is in the description itself. There's also a pink one for the ladies or the guys, however you want to swing. And there's also hats as well. So there's a link down there. The other one is, if you are joining me for the first time, I am also part of the bigger group, which is Techbuds-Solutions. So I have the Facebook group as well as Discord, where you can communicate and network with like-minded individuals who share the same passions as you do. We're a group of over 95,000 members and growing every day. I'm loving every minute of it, and just welcome, and I hope you stick around. So the two tickers that I have my eye on is the one was MCGI from yesterday. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to bore you guys, for you returning folks. So if you really want to dig into MCGI and why I chose that stock, check out yesterday's video. And I put a whole bunch of due diligence on that, is why I see value in it. The one that I'm going to talk about tonight, though, was GMOS. And that was one I got in late in the day. And we'll go into that in just a sec. One thing I also want to address, if you're joining me for the first time, I always answer questions for everybody at the end of the video. So please stick around. Wait till the end of the video. You're more than welcome to type in any questions in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer those for you. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. I'm going to go over why I see value in this particular stock. So it's GMOS. I keep wanting to say GMON, but it's GMOS is the ticker symbol. And so let me share my screen with you real quick. Boom. All right. So the reason why I think let me pull it up. Yep. So this is a court document that was submitted by the attorney. And if you can see his name here, it's Frederick C. Baumann. And the name of the company for GMOS is Giant Motorsports, which you can see up here. Now, I pulled this off of Investors Hub. If you're familiar with Investors Hub, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I utilize Investors Hub sometimes to find pertinent information. This was shared on Investors Hub on the board for GMOS. This is very important because this particular filing is for reinstatements. Now, I've already stressed to you guys the importance of reinstatements and what they can do to a stock. So this is one of the reasons why I chose to get into this one. The other reason is this attorney is important. This attorney right here is important because he's the attorney for Joseph Acaro. Now, if you recall my $800 to $8,000 video that I shared with you guys a couple of weeks ago with one of our members, only made $8,000 off of only 800 bucks. That is the same CEO, Joseph Acaro. Anytime, and I don't know how to explain it, anytime Joseph Acaro touches a stock or touches a company, for whatever reason, he turns it into gold. He's very good at what he does. He's had plenty of big running stocks. CYPE is another one, and I actually pulled that up for you guys to kind of show you how I found that this attorney is the same attorney for Joseph Acaro, and I had it pulled up for you. Here it is. So I went to OTC Markets. If you're not familiar with OTC Markets, if you're joining me for the first time, OTC Markets is a great resource when you're looking at profiles for a stock. They have all their filings and disclosures, news, overviews, and that sort of thing for each stock in the OTC. So what I did was I clicked on this attorney letter for CYPE, which is another company that's owned by Joseph Acaro. The only reason I know that is because of how we've all been networking within the group and we all know pretty much all of the stocks that Joseph Acaro is associated with. So I clicked on the attorney letter. This is what came up. And as you can see, attorney at law is Frederick C. Baumann, the same guy that submitted for this reinstatement for GMOS. Now, what else did I do? So I went to the Nevada Secretary of State. I pulled up Giant Motorsports. I see here that it's revoked still, which means that this could potentially be reinstated soon as well. So this, again, is another reinstatement play, and I can't stress enough how much potential can come out of tickers that we've seen that get reinstated. You know, these don't get reinstated for no reason. They get reinstated so they can become great companies again, as long as obviously the right people are in place. And in my opinion, Joseph Acaro obviously is one of those people that are in place. Now, this isn't Joseph Acaro himself, obviously, but this is his lawyer who does all of the filings for Joseph Acaro. Like, that's his right-hand man, does all that stuff. And so whenever I'm looking at the Nevada Secretary of State, I'm always looking to see if it's active or revoked. Now, again, Nevada Secretary of State isn't the only state that has that companies file with, but Nevada is the most common because of tax breaks and stuff like that the Nevada Secretary of State offers. There's 4 major ones that are pretty popular. It's Nevada, Wyoming, Florida, and Delaware that we see the most, but all 50 states have these. But those are the ones that offer the best tax incentives for companies that are either just starting up or smaller companies, such as any of them that are in the OTC. So that's why I always look for companies that are here first. And I see that this is revoked. You know, I see that this was, submitted. And then I also, saw that there's some activity on Equity Feed. Let me bring you back to my beautiful face. Welcome back. So that's kind of like and so I decided to get into this stock at just below 10 cents. I got a 9 and some change. And I was able to make another $330 at the close today for that. I actually ran, oh my gosh, the spread on this is kind of crazy because there's not a lot of people that are aware of this quite yet. But once the ball gets rolling, I think that it could potentially, this is just, again, my opinion. I'm not telling you to buy it, but I'm just showing you my strategy, my way of thinking, why I get into the stocks that I get into and find success. And so whenever I see Joseph Acaro is involved or any of his affiliates are involved in a stock, my light bulbs go off up here. And so then I dig even more to see what's going on. And so that's why I made the decision to get into this particular stock. I saw that there wasn't a whole lot of volume and the spread was kind of crazy. It actually went up to 17 cents at one point today, which got me really excited. At one point I was up almost 100%, and which is awesome. Now I think that it could potentially keep running as long as this reinstatement actually goes through. Right now, I didn't take a large position. I actually didn't take a large position on either one of these positions that I made $2,600 on. And again, I always stress that that's the beauty of the OTCs, that you don't have to spend a lot to make a lot, as long as you're making the right decisions and you're following the process that you've put in place for yourself. And part of that building block that I try to provide you is part of that plan. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm just trying to show you my way of thinking, my strategy, so that you can find success in the OTC, because that's how I find success in the OTC. The other big part of that is being able to network with individuals, and that's why we have Discord. That's why we have Facebook, so people can ask questions and learn. And that's what we do here. We offer everything everything that I've done for you guys so far. It's all been all for free, and I continue to do that for free. I've been changing lives here for a while now, and it's awesome for me to see, and for you guys to see some wins. I know that there was a crazy roller coaster ride on LRDR today that a lot of people that were in capitalized on that huge dip. It was a monster dip today for some miscommunication that was going on, and a lot of you guys capitalized on that. So congratulations to you guys who got in on LRDR on that dip. But yeah, anyway, this is just my strategy. I've stressed to you guys the Joseph Acaro stocks Sometimes you just play stocks because there's a name attached to it and there's no rhyme or reason to it. That's just how it rolls sometimes. We're owning the chaos, right? We're owning the chaos that is the OTC. So now I wanted to address one other thing. A lot of people have been asking me about the scanner that I use that is Equity Feed. Before I get into this, Equity Feed does not pay me. They don't sponsor me to do any of this. But by far, Equity Feed is the best scanner out there that money can buy. Now, it's not cheap. It's not something, it's between $130 to $200 a month. But that's, if you just want to do OTC stocks, if you just want to use a scanner for OTC stocks for Equity Feed, I think it's like $130. But I can cut you a break. I can get you 10% off if you click on the affiliate link that I put in the description for you as well. So if you're looking to step up your game as far as trading OTCs or anything really, Equity Feed, in my opinion, is where it's at, and you can get that discount if you click on the link below. So that is all I got for you as far as, my due diligence when it came to checking out this particular stock. I think that it has potential. I also think that MCGI has potential. When it comes to reinstatements, guys, those are always the big plays. Reinstatements, I think, are probably one of the bigger catalysts that are out there next to, I would say, paying off convertible debt is probably the next biggest one, if not, at the same caliber of a catalyst. Sometimes those reverse mergers and mergers can be really big too, depending on who the players are. But most commonly, the reinstatements and the convertible debt payoffs are the bigger catalysts that you want to play in the OTC, in my opinion. All right, so with all that, I hope that was easy to understand and it was pretty clear as to my thought process and how I was able to find success doing that. I will go ahead and, as I always do towards the end of the video, is answer your questions. So I'm just going to go ahead and sift through here. Ariana Sanchez, thank you so much. You donated to my channel. I really appreciate that. I always appreciate everybody who donates to my channel. I just can't thank you enough. I always like to shout those people out because, you guys get it. You get what I'm trying to do here. And I love it. I love our community. If you guys haven't been into Discord yet, in my chat group, we're just kind of like a big old family. And when I say family, I really mean family. Sometimes we fight and argue like a families, but it's all in good fun. We all love each other. And at the end of the day, we always, kiss and make up if you let's see here. A lot of people saying they were green today. It's great to see. Awesome. Somebody said I bought into LIBE. Yeah, it's been a tough one, guys. At 0139, the report got rid of the convertible debt came to 2 weeks ago. My 1K is now 500. Yep, that happens sometimes. I'm holding, waiting for the spike back up. Do you think I'm doing the right thing? I can't give you a yes or no answer. I have to tell you that you're going to have to. It's basically based off of your patience, your level of patience, and your level of risk. So if you can afford to hang out and stay in there until the actual news comes out that convertible debt's been paid off and it starts to come back up, then do that. If you don't think it's worth your time to continue to sit there and wait to see what's going to happen, then cut your losses and use that for something else. And that's just basically what it comes down to. It's your level, your risk tolerance, and your patience level. Sometimes that patience pays off, but it all depends on where you're at as far as how big your account is. Can you use that money to make somewhere else instead of just waiting on LIBE to do what it's supposed to be doing? I'm just as frustrated about it as you guys are. For me, it's just one of those things that I can afford to wait it out, but you might not be able to. So I don't want to tell you what to do with that. It's just something that you're going to have to come to terms with on your own. Let's see here. What happened with LRDR? Pretty cool. Quick explanation. So yeah, I don't want to go into too much because I'd have to screen share and all that stuff. And I'm not prepared completely for LRDR. But for those of you that are in LRDR, what was announced today was a stock split. Now, oftentimes when you get a stock split news, it's like, holy crap, the sky's falling. Get out while you can, because the stock split is always bad news, right? Because you're going to then receive a smaller piece of the pie after that stock split occurs. But the one kicker with LRDR was that the stock split was only for preferred stock holders, which none of us are. And if you are invested in LRDR, you are all common stock. So that was the miscue, if you will, why people were selling off. All they saw was stock split, and these people were selling that had no idea that it, then weren't paying attention to the fact that it was preferred stock. And so once people realized that their common stock was okay, that wasn't going to be split off, people started buying back into it again. So there was a lot of people that were already still in LRDR from the very low 00 price point that had just been sticking it out. I think it saw lows of 005. People capitalized on that and bought that heck out of that dip and rode it back up for more than 100% gains. Guys, I couldn't be more proud of you for that. BB Stock was in there shouting that out to the rooftops, telling you guys, hey, he's a great asset, obviously, to have in our group, as well as Kiko, all of you admins that we have, Sniper and Roberto, they're all great. But that's just the beauty of having people in there that have been doing this a while and know what they're doing, and to shout that out and to let you guys know, hey, we're not reading this right, or you're not reading this right. This is what it actually means. And you guys are able to capitalize on that, which is freaking awesome. So that is the explanation of LRDR. If you're not familiar with stock splits and all that stuff, I do have videos on that, or you can just Investopedia it, whatever you want to do. Obviously, it'll be on my lesson library coming up, so stay tuned for that as well. Just reading other ones here. What's the ideal share structure for a sub-penny stock? Very good question. So for me, I don't know if there's necessarily a quote-unquote ideal share structure, but you don't want to go after something that's got like billions of shares in the float, right? You want something that's going to move pretty quickly. And that's also based on the amount of volume that shows up. So if you're looking through your scanner and you see the dollar volume, there's a lot of it coming in. And yeah, it might have a large float, but it's enough volume coming in to move that float, then, it could be a potential play. But for me, I always like to look for stuff that's around 500 million shares, nothing more than that as far as like float goes. But I have been known to play stocks that had float that was much higher than that. So like that's what I'm saying. If I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that there's a ton of volume flowing in here and it's going to move the float no matter what it is, I could see myself getting into that. But that 500 million share range is kind of like that sweet spot, or I wouldn't like to go any more than that. Obviously the lower the float is, the easier it's going to move. So if you're getting in something that's lower than 500,000, obviously you might want to check that out to see if it's a potential play. Also be careful of the liquidity of that. Again, that has to deal with the volume and the amount of dollars that are being spent on that stock that day. Okay. What's the recommended time frame you use for these OTC stocks? Again, so I think you're asking like, how long do I stay in these? It all depends on the potential catalysts that I see coming on down the road. I actually shouted this out to you guys today that MCGI, I ended up selling my initial buy-in, and right now I'm riding on complete free shares of MCGI. So I always like to stress that you guys protect your initial investment. And I always like to say that once you doubled your money, you protect that investment, use that for something else that you want to buy into later. And then all that's in there is basically free shares. It's all pure profit shares, and you can sell that when you're happy. You can get out, take out everything if you wanted to, or see where it goes based off of the potential catalyst you might see coming on down the road based on your due diligence. So that's a long answer to a short question, but I felt like I needed to address. There isn't like a magic number that's out there, in my opinion. Wow, there's a lot of good questions here. So can you buy OTC with Ally Invest? I'm not sure. I've never actually used Ally Invest. I've heard of it. It's not something that I'm familiar with, but if you can try seeing if, and I don't want you to like buy anything, but like if you're buying something, make sure you're buying small, obviously maybe it's just a couple dollars just to see if you can get in it. And if you can't, then I would suggest you either get into TD Ameritrade or E-Trade. In my opinion, those are the two best platforms to trade over-the-counter stocks on. They're the two best platforms to trade any stock on, in my opinion. But again, that's just how I feel about it. But for OTCs in particular, it's TD Ameritrade and E-Trade. All right. Just looking through here. What about bid whacking? So whenever we use the term bid whacking, it means that, like, people. So I've gone over this before, but I can address it really quick. So there's a bid and ask price on the spread, right? So you have a bid price, ask price. When you make a limit order, you can set that price to either one of those price points. So if you're buying on the ask, that's what we call slapping the ask. So you're actually, that's the quickest way to get into a stock with a limit order, is if you go ahead and slap that ask. Same thing when you're going to sell. So if you sell, but it's on the opposite. I'm sorry. So when you sell and you sell directly on that bid price, that's going to be the quickest way that you can get out of a stock with a limit order is by whacking the bid. That's a general term that a lot of people use within the OTC market. Is you whack that bid. The problem with that is that you're going to get out at a lower price than what you might have been able to get out had you just tried to sell on the ask price. Again, it all has to do with liquidity, how quickly you're trying to get out of a stock. But when you whack the bid like that, oftentimes, especially if it's running, it will kill the momentum of that stock. So just be careful of that. I do have videos on how to get out of a stock, how to sell in the OTC, and what works best for me and a lot of us that trade these. So I encourage you to go check that out. Let me see here. Why I bought LRDR on the dip based on the fact that it had the name of Caro. Why, if he was so good in the past, would it be a reverse stock split on common stock? Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Caro, I mean, I think he's done splits in the past, but they've always been strategic historically, and he's never really done anything that has really been toxic to a stock historically. So yeah, it was definitely a crazy dip. I mean, it was down like almost 80%, and I think it almost came back up to where it was at the open. Unbelievable. It was down a half a penny, and it closed up well over a penny. Just a crazy dip. When we always say buy the dip, that is definitely one that you want to get on. So congratulations to you guys on that. All right. Well, that's all I got for you guys. It looks like we're running out of questions. Just kind of wanted to, again, show you about my strategy, my level of thinking, how I find success. Once again, if you won't mind, if you're joining me for the first time and you learned something and you're interested in coming back, please subscribe so you'll get reminded when I go live every time. I'm going to be going live more often starting next week. I really want to start to get every day, at least Monday through Friday for you guys. And so you'll get notified as long as you subscribe and click on that alert bell, of course, to get notified when so if you like this video tonight, give it a like. I would sure appreciate it. And that is all I got for you guys tonight. As always, I will see you all before the bell, and B Smith is out.